I'm not afraid. You have all heard about Notre Dame College, where the boys have the champion football team. Yes, you've heard a lot about their football team, but besides football, young men at Notre Dame are trained to be good Catholics. Do you know that at Notre Dame there are hundreds of young men who go to Holy Communion every day? That means that they are pretty good Catholics. I know lots of stories about Notre Dame. This is a true story. It's the story about Ed Fisher. Ed went to Notre Dame. Every morning Ed went to Holy Communion, and one day Ed was taken very sick. The doctor said that Ed was going to die, so they sent for his father. The father left his home in New York and hurried out to the hospital near Notre Dame. When Ed's father walked into the door, Ed looked up and smiled. Ed knew that he was going to die, and he said, "Dad, I'm awfully sick. The priest has been here. He heard my confession and brought me Holy Communion, and pretty soon I'll be with Jesus, Mary, and Joseph. But Dad, you know, Christ and I have been pretty good friends, so I'm not afraid." Christ and I have been pretty good friends, so I'm not afraid. Gee, it must have been swell to be able to say that. Ed Fisher wasn't afraid to die. He wasn't afraid to meet Jesus, because Jesus and he had always been pretty good friends. I like to see little boys and girls going to communion every week. That's how you can be good friends with Jesus. That's where you meet Jesus. That's where you can talk with Jesus. If you go to Holy Communion every week, you can be just like Ed Fisher. You can say, "Jesus and I are pretty good friends, so I'm not afraid." You know, the devil is always on the job. He is always trying to keep you away from Mass. The devil tries to make you steal. The devil wants you to lie. The devil is always trying to make you commit sins. It means fighting all the time, fighting the devil. But if you go to Holy Communion often, you needn't be afraid. There are so many times that we need Jesus. Take examination time. We all hate those old exams, and if there is anything in the world that we want, it is to pass those exams. Do you know what the wise little boys and girls do? They get Jesus for their chum. They meet Jesus every Sunday in Holy Communion. Then, when those old exams come around, why, Jesus sits right down in the seat with them. Jesus keeps whispering the right answers into their ears. He makes them write the right answers. All during the examinations, Jesus is right there with those little boys and girls, whispering into their ears. You and I are pretty good friends. Don't be afraid. Why, you couldn't have a better friend than Jesus. He was always on the job. He is right there just when you need him, every single time. Some boys and girls like to be your friends when you have something to give them. If you have a pair of skates that they can borrow, or if your mother makes good cake, why, they want to be your friends. But just as soon as you want a favor from them, or if you get into trouble, then, oh yes, then they are never around. But Jesus isn't like that. Jesus is always on the job. Jesus is always there to help you. Jesus never fails his friends. That's what I call a real, true friend. You know, someday you're going to get awful sick, too. The priest is going to come to you and hear your confession. He will bring you Holy Communion. Oh, that's going to be the most important time of your whole life. Then, if you've gone to Holy Communion often during your life, then you too can say, Jesus and I have been pretty good friends, so I'm not afraid.